Hey you guys, and welcome to my channel. In this video, I'm going to talk about the art of attachment and detachment versus resistance. Welcome to my channel. If you are new, there's over 600 videos here to help you understand the bumps in the roads that we face in life, to help you get over traumatic experiences, to help you understand toxic relationships, including the ones that we have with ourselves, and not only help you understand it, but give you some tools to increase your emotional maturity or emotional intelligence so that, when you do realize, you acknowledge, what, I have issues in this area, and you're able to, okay, now what? So to help you with some of those solutions as well. So this video is a big dog. Okay, this honestly should be one of my most viewed videos. It's really at the core of our existence here. Okay, so it's very important, and it's going to be very fundamental at that point to be able to wrap your mind around the concepts that I'm going to be talking about in this video. It's going to serve you well in all areas of your life. Okay, so let's talk about this. The art of attachment and detachment versus resistance. Now, why is this even important for me to bring up? Well, throughout our lives, we are constantly attaching and detaching to some person, place, or thing. It's a running theme, and for that reason, I want you to look at the art of attachment and detachment as a skill, if you will, a skill for you to manage lifelong. Because after we master the attachment to or detachment to one thing, guess what? There's something else. Because life is, forever moving, right? And we are being exposed to different people, places, and things. I mean, that's the whole point. And we should be having new experiences. So now there's going to be more opportunity to be practicing this art of attachment and detachment as needed. Now, having a healthy relationship with attachment and detachment is going to dictate or determine how peaceful and how balanced we feel as we have to utilize attaching and detaching. Okay, so the ability to successfully attach and detach, obviously is going to be crucial to our peace and our balance, and then of course our progression, all right, in life. So what happens is some of us find ourselves in a stuck place because, we're in resistance to that attachment and detachment, and not seeing that, it's actually for our best interest in that situation to attach and detach. And then sometimes we are overly invested in things having a certain outcome, and that creates extreme resistance in some cases. And then, of course, if we're going to have that extreme resistance, we're going to have extreme issues with that attachment and detachment as well. One thing is definitely going to connect with another. But as we're, like I said, transitioning in life, moving from one season to the next, ending one chapter and beginning another, we're going to have to utilize that art of attachment and detachment. Okay. But, sometimes we've made up our mind, and, we've set an intention on something to be a certain way no matter what. And then we find ourselves in that resistance when it turns out to be something else. And now we're in a crossroads, right? And that crossroad is going to say, hey, reality is this, and you wanted reality to be that. Now what? What are we going to do about that? Are we going to be in resistance? Are we going to feel like, what? I don't feel ready to accept this truth. So I'm going to resist the detachment, or I'm going to resist the attachment necessary in this process. Okay. But, when we resist that attachment and detachment, and we say we're not ready to make that shift, we're actually putting ourselves in a false reality. And this is the mask that we're creating, with our three-dimensional eyes, because we're not ready. Unlike a rubber band, the real reality is taking place in the background, guys. And no matter if we want to give it its proper acknowledgement or not, it's still occurring reality. If we want to put on those rosy colored glasses in some instances and not really respect the truth and receive that and be in that resistance, it's like a rubber band that's being stretched. And there's some elasticity where it can be stretched, but for how long here before the rubber band pops? Okay. And this is equivalent to the universe screaming at you because it's been stretching the whole time. But, we were in that resistance to utilizing that art of attachment to detachment. So eventually it can snap. And, if you've ever had a rubber band snap on you, didn't feel very good, did it? So it'll either snap or perhaps, this will be a great thing if you can intercept it before the rubber band actually snaps. Okay. And therefore, taking yourself out of resistance. And honestly, while we're talking about resistance should actually be uncomfortable when you are utilizing the art of attachment and detachment properly. Resistance should actually be uncomfortable consciously, So what's happening is resistance becomes comfortable when we're unconscious, when we are in the resistance to wanting to see that reality and accept truths, guys. So, this is why sometimes people say ignorance is bliss, but I don't believe in that statement. I understand the perception of the person on the outside looking into someone who may be in huge denial or illusions or delusional about something, and they're deceiving themselves, if you will, and then that ignorance looks so blissful. Or if someone doesn't even know better, because ignorance is more so when someone doesn't really know better. But it's actually not blissful because, like I said, behind the scenes, whether we're giving it its proper acknowledgement or not, reality is actually occurring. Okay. So no matter how much we kick and scream, it's still there, guys, and it's always brewing. So to me, it's like, if you can't beat it, why not just join it? It'll make things a lot more smoother for you. Okay. And honestly, reality will not allow you to run from it forever. So you will come to a point where, look, you got to face it, whether you want to or not, you have to face it. Okay. So emotional intelligence would suggest to us to, if we know that, then why don't we just work with this here? Let's work with it and use it to our advantage so that it won't basically become our disadvantage eventually, because there are ways to actually use this to be our advantage. So, when we're willing to actually face things, we're actually having mercy and grace on ourselves. We're having compassionate towards ourselves as well at these times. So, that's another positive to utilizing the art of attachment and detachment as needed. All right. And it's definitely, like I said, better than being screamed at by the universe. Right. So how do we become better? How do we utilize this art? What is going to be the necessary tools, the necessary frames of minds and perspectives to have so that, we are utilizing this? Because, it's not going anywhere. We're going to be faced with attachment and detachment as long as we are living here, and even at our death. I've studied that as well, and they say, people who have an easier transition from the three-dimensional or easier transitional out of death are those that are willing to let go, who are willing to detach, versus the person that is severely attached to the three-dimensional, not ready to transition, or they're thinking about earthly things that they don't want, that they're not ready to part ways with. And we hear people tell their loved ones that's transitioning, like, it's okay to let go, I'm going to be all right, it's not going to hurt me. And sometimes that person that is facing death is thinking about their loved ones. I don't want to leave them, I don't want to hurt them, maybe I want to still do stuff for them, or or just even the fear of that transitioning. But a lot, when we listen to people who've had these experiences and the studies that they've done, and they're saying, fighting against it as opposed to letting go when it's your time. And even then, we're faced with attachment and detachment. Okay, guys? So, let's talk about putting our best foot forward, okay? Because that's what we're basically doing. We're increasing our emotional maturity about this attachment and detachment. All right, so at this point, let's examine where you currently stand, okay? And this is going to say a lot about whether you're a person that has attachment and detachment issues here. What are you committed to? Okay, that's going to be a question. What are you committed to in life? Are you committed to what is, or versus what you want? Someone that's just always committed to what I want, that person is probably going to have a lot of attachment and detachment issues, as opposed to what is. Because detachment is obviously a form of being able to let go, and attachment, we can look at that as taking in and receiving. All right, but if what we want is something that we should be letting go of, then what are we taking in and receiving? Things that aren't for our best interest. All right, but what are you committed to is going to be a really big question here. Are you committed to what is? Are you only committed to what you want? All right. So ultimately, guys, what I'm getting at here, we have to be committed to the truth. All right. We have to be committed to the truth. It doesn't mean that this has to always stay our truth. If it's something unfavorable or what we don't want in that moment, it doesn't mean that we can't plant seeds and start watering those seeds so that it can change into something that we think is better. Okay. So number one, we're going to commit to truth. All right. Even if the truth is ugly to us right now, even if the truth hurts right now, we're going to commit to that, because we can make the best informed decisions off of the truth, right? So if we're committing to the truth, then we don't have to resist the attachment and detachment when it needs to happen, do we? No, we don't, because we'll be committed to stand with the facts, staying with the truth, and then knowing that we can actually plant seeds and foster those seeds to help things be better. And then there are some instances where, that particular situation is just a closed door for you. And that's okay, because the ending is a beginning, But if we're at least minimally committed to the truth over everything, over what I even wanted, I need to know what the truth is. And then I can see if I can get it to where I want, or what I actually need. Our needs are better than what we just wanted. Needs are what we need, for our betterment and for our best good. All right. So we're going to, number one, commit to the truth and keeping a big picture. And that, like I said, this is the truth now. It doesn't mean that it can't be better. The truth could be, okay, I'm a functioning alcoholic. Wow, that's my truth right now. But if I commit myself to therapy, if I commit myself to, sobriety, I can change this truth over time, and I can be in a different place. Okay. Number two, guys, we have to believe in divine timing. And this is a control factor, if you will. I want what I want when I want it, right? And We know that life usually doesn't work that way. It's a process, guys. Doesn't mean that we can't ever have what we need, what we want. Yeah, we can, but we have to know about divine timing, guys, and be able to trust that, you know what, things come to me when they're supposed to. If I'm putting my best foot forward, if I'm doing the best, I know that my God is going to do the rest. You know, I know that the universe has my back here. I'm going to do my best. So it's only going to be divine timing at that point, because I'm doing everything that I can. You know, sometimes we don't want to detach because we don't even believe we could have something better. You know, and these are those negative, toxic ways of thinking, all right? Or we don't want to let go because, you know, this is all I know. And, you know, we're having a limited perception rather than a limitless, like endless possibilities, or, you know, at least additional possibilities, better possibilities. I don't have to settle for this. I don't have to just stay in my comfort zone. But that's believing in divine timing and not getting nervous if it feels like, you know what, this is taking longer than I thought it was going to take, type of thing. Okay. Number 3, guys, we're going to see the good. You know, we're not just going to only see the bad, because sometimes we don't want to accept something because our perception is negative about it. Oh, it hurts to acknowledge that. So I don't want to, I'm going to be in resistance. I don't want to accept that my loved one has passed away. It hurts because I'm never going to see them again or on earth. They're not here with me anymore. So we can get in a resistance about that, right? Or we can see the positive. Oh my gosh, this person was terminally ill and they actually were suffering pretty bad at the end of their life, and they're peaceful now. You know, they're not here hurting anymore. Or I can celebrate this person's life, their legacy. I can, all the pictures and the memories are, you know, if this person was walking in their purpose, they've left all of this here that I cherish. Being able to have these things and look back on them and cherish that, you know, I can cherish their life instead of just focusing on the moment of their death, okay? And my own selfishness of wanting to keep them here forever, you know? So when we aren't able to see the good, you know, these are the type of things that can keep us stuck. Like I said, something like the grieving process. All right. And then, you know, we're giving life a lot of times to the past as well, because we're holding on to it and we're not willing to let go of it, you know. All right. And it definitely takes away from us being able to be present in the moment. So I wanted to point that out as well. So the 4th thing that I want to mention, guys, is to become friends. Become friends with attachment and detachment. Become friends, guys. And if you become friends with it, suddenly it's not your enemy when it's knocking at your door, as it often is, and saying, oh, you need to stop doing this, or you need to start doing this, all right? So we're going to become friends with it. And now when I have to detach, it's not the bad guy. When I need to attach, it's not the bad guy. You know, we're able to not see it as our enemy, guys. And that is so, so important. So I want to go over quickly to recap these 4 things again. And number 1, we were saying that we're going to commit to the truth over everything. We need to be committed to having the truth, guys. Number 2, we're going to believe in divine timing, and we're not going to have like these control issues over things we don't have control over anyway, you know. But we're going to believe in divine timing and not be defeated, all right? Number 3, we're going to see the good, guys. We're going to see where something is for my good and not only just focus on what we perceive to be so negative and about a situation. Oh, this is unpleasant, you know, death and endings and feeling like a loss of something. And we think it's easier and self-serving to just stay in resistance, and it's actually not. It's not. Okay, it's not going to be for your best. And number 4, we're going to become friends with it rather than seeing it as the bad guy or the enemy. You know, this is a part of life. Most things, you know, is temporary to begin with. And that doesn't have to be a horrible negative thing, guys. It just means that everything has its time, okay? And when something runs its course, it's run its course, right? All right, so I wanted to just begin to have that conversation, guys, about attachment and detachment, and I hope that this has helped someone. And if this video has resonated with you, make sure you hit that like button. All right, if you're not subscribed to the channel, I highly recommend you do so. I do post content quite frequently, and you get a lot out of this. You know, they don't teach emotional maturity in schools, so you know, being book smart is one thing, but emotional maturity is definitely, you know, what you want to have alongside of that. Okay, now I do offer one-on-one coaching where you can get private sessions with me, and we can talk about anything that you're struggling with in life. Perhaps you're healing from narcissistic abuse, perhaps you're doing some shadow work on yourself to be your best version, perhaps you're working towards a goal, perhaps you need clarification, you want some tips and tools on how to get from A to B to C and so forth and so on. I can help you with all of that. You can go to my website, lakiacrawford.com, to schedule your consultation, guys. I have all types of packages. I do voice calls, I do FaceTime, I do Skypes, I do WhatsApp video chats, and you know, we'll pick the medium that works best in any given situation. I do email coaching, guys, because writing is very therapeutic as well. And over on Facebook, and you can see this down in the description, I do have a support group for survivors of narcissistic abuse. You can just go ahead and click that link, guys, and inbox me and let me know that you're a survivor. I get a lot of random requests, and I just want to make sure, you know, I want to protect that group and make sure that it's full of survivors only, okay? So that's really important to me. Other than that, guys, while you're on my website, you'll see a lot of the other products that I have available. And in this video, I really want to highlight my books. So, and I meant to grab the other one before I started the video here. But a lot of you don't know that I've written 4 wonderful therapeutic books, guys, that I would like to share with you. And if you love this channel and the work that you're seeing in this video and other videos, you're certainly going to love these books as well. You can get some additional pearls of wisdom, guys, and definitely be increasing your emotional maturity, all right? So the first one that I do want to show you guys is the X Factor Poetry Edition, okay? And this could be found on Barnes & Noble's, Amazon.com. And if you'd like a signed copy, it's available on my website, lakiacrawford.com. You can order it from there, okay? This is really a great book for someone who is in a toxic relationship, okay? Or just freshly out of one, or just for someone who wants to understand toxic relationships and what's going on in them, and what can we do to avoid being in these situations ourselves. So it's great for being proactive as well, but it's definitely going to provide clarity if you are currently experiencing this, okay? So this book has 2 halves to it, and it's very creative in that way. The first is going to be 75 original poems that I've written myself, and these poems are describing toxic relationships, you know, in a very creative way. So you will find yourself in at least one, but chances are many of these poems if you have experienced a toxic relationship. All right. And then there's the second half of this book where I take each poem and I break it down. I break it down for whatever may have flown over your head when you've read it, excuse me. But I break down the poems, I talk about what's going on relationally, and I provide the solutions. So, you know, it's really a creative way to keep your attention, you know, for anyone that's into the arts, reading these beautiful poems, but then also breaking it down in the second half of the book and describing the issues and giving the solutions to the issues, all right? So the whole idea is that I really think in society we have such a negative predisposition about breakups and endings. In this book, as the subtopic right here, or subtitle says, The end of a relationship is the beginning of a better relationship with yourself. Illuminate. It's just learning how to see how endings can be beautiful, beautiful, beautiful beginnings, especially when it's ending something toxic. All right, guys. So I highly recommend, and then for those of you who want to get into my books, to read them in order. So I recommend this book first and foremost. So it's understanding that toxic relationship, okay? So once you do that, and my books are progressing, the second book that I want you guys to look into is the second volume. And now this is the X Factor Poetry Edition Volume 2. Okay? Is it getting clear? It's hard for me to tell from back here. But yeah, this is the second book. Now, this book is great for someone who's doing the shadow work. And shadow work is working on the cracks in our own foundations that led us to being in the toxic relationship, okay? So now that we have examined the toxic relationship and we're understanding why that just wasn't going to be compatible for us and it inevitably was going to end, okay? Now we're going to be doing the work on ourselves. So this book is a very self-reflective book where we're doing the work on ourselves. And the beautiful thing about this book is it takes you on a journey where in the beginning it just seems very heavy because, now we're facing ourselves. Because a lot of times we get lost in the relationship itself and we look in the mirror and we're like, I don't even know who I am, or, I put down fragments of myself. So we have to reconnect with ourselves and start really looking at the person who we can change, and that's us. All right, so this book takes you on that journey, and it starts out a little heavy. And as you see the poems progress through the book, this person is doing the work, and by the end, their heart is like light as a feather, and that's a wonderful place to be. They're not jaded by their situation or the experience that they had in a toxic relationship. By the end, they're believing in love again. They're seeing all the limitless possibilities that they can embark on now that they're doing the work, they're facing themselves, they're keeping it real about what they have to fix, and they're doing that, okay? So this is a great book when you're in that self-discovery phase, or, definitely what I would tell you to read after the volume 1, okay? So that's the second one, guys. So now that we have dissected the relationship, and now that we have dissected ourselves, now it's time to dissect our environment. Okay, and this is a white backdrop and it might make it hard to. This one is called The Beauty of the Eye. And this is so beautiful, the artwork. I really want you guys to see it. Isn't that like amazingly cute? I think it's really cute, guys. All right, and this one says, come on a poetic journey of experiences in the third eye world. So, everything is connected. It really is. So we need to understand our environment as well, guys. So this book is going to help you open your eyes to things that are happening around you that may not be so obvious. It's bringing that attention to these items. And I think this is really great for increasing your emotional maturity. All right. So this is the third book and it's so beautiful. It really is. And it's just bringing everything, it's making a connection with everything that's external and internal and how it's connected together. All right. So this is definitely for those deep thinkers. All right. So I definitely recommend that as well. Beauty of the Eye. Love it. Love the artwork as well. The fourth book, guys, and I don't have that here on the side of me, it's over here, is Silent Tears. And that is a book written for sexual abuse survivors. So if you have experienced that, this is a great book for you. We know after we have these experiences and maybe we go to the doctors or something, they're giving us these pamphlets with all of these statistics, and it's very cold, So Silent Tears is a very warm book written by a survivor to other survivors to help give you that warm embrace and to actually help you find additional healing or find healing if you found that you haven't. You know, this could have happened 30 years ago and it's still traumatic to you right now, and it's invading your quality of life. So I have exercises in there, self-reflective things to help you work on this privately. You know, a lot of times people don't like speaking about this in the open. So, you know, you can get this book and read through it in private and go at the pace that's comfortable for you. Sometimes you might have to stop and digest, you know, something that I'm presenting and seeing how that's for your good, and how this is going to help you move forward and whatnot. So it's a way to be able to still get some very good therapy in that area, um, and do it privately. All right. So all of these books, like I said, are available on Barnes and Nobles and Amazon. You can get the ebook or the hard copies. And then if you're a diehard fan and you want it that much, you can visit my website, lakiacrawford.com, and get your signed copies. All right. And then also on my website, you'll see the No Narc merchandise, things to make your statement against narcissistic abuse, and have fun with your fashion at the same time. All right, so that's really fun. There's bumper car stickers, mouse pads, Scully hats, winter's about to be approaching, cute t-shirts and matching caps. So you can go there, and that line will actually be growing over time, so I'm excited for that. All right, so with all of that being said, guys, I do have a Patreon, and that's a great place for you to go visit as well. It's for people that want to support the work that I do. You can pick out a monthly membership where you're making a donation to the work that I do, and you're going to get some amazing perks back for doing that. So I highly recommend you check out that as well. And it's a great way to get discounts on the services that I provide as well. All right. So I appreciate everybody's loyalty and love that you guys show the channel. Great ways to support the channel is to always hit the like button, guys, leave comments, and share the content. More people need to know about this channel. It can help the world, honestly. There's so much here. There's something for everybody. So, you know, definitely share, you know, but always hit that like button, all right? It helps push the content out in YouTube world. With that being said, I want to say thank you to all my subscribers. I'm really, really pleased and very thankful, actually. It's pretty humbling that the really good, steady growth that this channel is having. So, you know, I'm definitely committed to providing quality content for you guys and just making this channel better and better as we go. You know, everybody lives and learns. So we're not even 2 years in here, so we're doing really well, and this is great. So thank you for everyone that has been with me on this journey, and thank you to all the newcomers. There's so much more to look forward to. All right, guys. So what do I say at the end of all of my videos? Somebody knows out there. Never, ever, ever give up on yourself, sweeties. Continue to do the work. Nobody knows it all. I don't know it all. I'm a lifelong learner, and I want you to be that too. Constantly be expanding your mind, and you're becoming a better person every time you do, right? And then I say take care, of course. Until next time, guys. Stay well. Take care.